Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
10th of 12 children in his family, the first medical doctor from his area. Roll back, he has come from a disadvantaged community called Nungwa Zongo. And he says it is the best Zongo in Ghana. Today, we are going to have a conversation with one of Ghana's neurosurgeon gurus. Join me as we share the story of Dr. Hadi Abdullah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. All praise is due to the one and only. He is the master.
This program is powered by Halal Events.
Assalamu alaikum, doc.
Wa alaikum salam. Jana, how are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Mine was actually a mixed bag, you know. And I remember my first day and second day at school, I had to be carried because I was crying that I won't go to school.
You remember that?
I remember that very, very well, you know. And so the man who took me to school did so because my mom just couldn't contain me because I had totally refused. I wanted to play football at home, you know. But for me, it was a mixed bag. Because my early days school was a formidable school. And that is why I think the foundation was built. Mom invested heavily in that. So she put me in an international school called Simple International School. And I had mates when I was in class 1, class 2, who were also from the estate.
Okay.
And even though the school was very high, it solidified my foundation. Now, Simple later changed ownership, and I think it became Mandela Preparatory School. It's in Teshnungwa Estate, you know. But somewhere along the line, in class 4, I lost my dad, and of course, my mom had to go into Takaba. So things were a bit tough, you know. We had a lot of misfortune around that time. We had some heavy storm blowing our roof off our house. My sister broke her leg. And it was around the same time we also lost my dad. So it was pretty tough. So in class 5, I was given some scholarship by the owner of the school. And then I managed to complete. And then I had to go to Saito. So I went to AMA 4 Junior Secondary School. At the time, they had changed it from ACC. It used to be Accra City Council Schools. Okay. But they had changed it to Accra Metropolitan Authority. Assembly 4 Junior Secondary School, where I did 3 years of DSS education. And then from there, I gained admission to Nungwa Secondary School, which I think is one of the top schools. In the country. Top school. Now, Nungwa Secondary School for years probably was in the shadow of many of these schools because Nungwa Secondary School didn't have an A-level school. You know, so pretty why people didn't know much about the school. But they produce some of the top athletes in this school, some of the top intellectuals that we have in this country. But of course, they went to university because in the name of, say, Presec Legon, because their sixth form was in Presec Legon. Accra used to take our athletes, and we produced some of the top athletes like Now, Richard Now, who was in the 1992 African Cup squad. All of these people attended school elsewhere, so it really didn't reflect. Even our current MP attended Nungwa Secondary School from 1 to 5. You know, the one contesting her also for Kowo is also an old Goski Alabi, Professor Goski. They are all from Nungwa Secondary School, but for the university admissions, their name would have been attached to other schools. And I think it was also at Nungwa Secondary School that my life was properly shaped. But once we are talking about my junior level schools, I'll take this opportunity also to praise one of my teachers, who is called Madam Felicia Odai. Apart from my JSS teacher, there was a day that I had collected my exams papers and I was walking home through Teshin in West State. And then one lady called me. She looked at my papers. I had scored 100. She was so impressed. She entered her house, picked trunk full of the son's clothes, and then just gave all to me.
It's a gift.
All of them, yeah. You know, I've had some of my half-brothers who came back home. They heard the good news of my result. And they helped, you know, to pay my fees. There was one lady who was also living near our house, who was married, was living somewhere in Legon. When she heard how I was doing very well, she helped me. There were people who cooked for me, you know. So the most important thing is that take your education serious and steady. You know, I believe that school fees shouldn't be a reason why you shouldn't go to school. You should be able to go to school. And once you do your part, even there are teachers. And I must say that we should respect our teachers very well, because there are teachers who are very genuine hearts and who want to help. And they've been helping students such as me. Looking at the challenges ahead, I decided to go and teach in my former school, made some money, and then built a table tennis center and started hiring where people play, and then I hired and made a lot of money from it, which I used to support my mom during my secondary school education. And I was also selling books whilst I was at Unungwa Secondary School. So I was selling pamphlets to people just to support my mom. Vacations, I go and help aunties, and they all supported me gradually till I finished secondary school. When I entered university, like I said, I made new friends, but paying fees was a bit difficult, you know. It was even more pronounced at the medical school. So every vacation, I had to travel to go and work, which for me, to date, I still see it as a privilege, you know. But I went there because I wanted to work and pay my fees. And I remember I never asked my mom for fees. So for university, I paid my own fees throughout. But of course, when it comes to feeding, there were other people, like this lady I said lived around Legon, who always would bring some food for me during the weekend. She's called like Ajia Baby Kaka. May her soul rest in peace.
Amen.
You know, such a great woman. But the university was a changer. It opened up my mind. I saw opportunities that I could actually travel abroad. And for me, the fact that people from my communities, including my friends, had to go through the treacherous journey through the Libyan desert, it was instructive for me that I could actually travel, sit in an aircraft and go to UK and go and work there during vacation. As a medical school, it had a toll on me, on my performance, because I would stay a bit longer to be able to recoup even the plane ticket money, and then make some money and come and pay my fees. But throughout, that is how I managed to sponsor my education in the medical school. Of course, it wasn't just me alone. There were other students who had to do that. So the most important thing was for us to take our education serious and study. Once you study and get very good grades, there's no way you are going to sit at home.
Okay.
And if you are watching this program and your parents are paying fees for you, you don't have any reason to say I won't study. You should study. Because there are many children out there who are unable to pay fees and are still able to make it. Medical school admission, for me, it was everything I dreamt of. It was everything that I dreamt of. And I quite remember very well that people looked me into the face and told me that there's no way I'll gain admission to the medical school because I'm not from an influential family. Nobody knows me. And people will give me example of other students reading other courses who did very well and were not picked in the medical school. So it was a glooming picture which was painted to me, that to be able to gain admission to the University of Ghana Medical School, you needed to have come from an influential family. You need to come on protocol. And I told myself that Allah is all that I had, because I didn't have anybody. But the fact that I've been able to get to the university, for me it was important, and it was an opportunity that Legon gave to many students coming from the so-called second grade schools and poorer communities, which they have stopped, and I think they have to relook at it. I remember always studying in the mosques and enjoying study groups, and I also remember telling one of the gentlemen that, yeah, you couldn't make it, but I'll make it. So I realized that I need to overperform a lot of people to be able to make it. So I studied hard. I have never studied like that. In fact, the first time I truly studied was when I decided that no, I must make it to the medical school. The day that gentleman told me that I will not make it even if I do very well. So I will spend weekend, I will spend morning to evening in the bush. There was some bush behind one of the lecture halls called M Block, just behind it. I'll go there in the morning, stay there and study. I studied so hard that I did so well. Luckily, when the university admission interview list came, my name was number one by virtue of the fact that I'm Abdullah. Not because I topped, but luckily I was able to make it and I was admitted. And for some strange reason, they grouped us based on our grade point. So those of us who went on the first day were the ones who had the highest grade point. Entrepreneurship is something we need to teach our young ones. And if you can start that very early as primary school or JHS, we'll be producing billionaires in our communities in some time to come, because we don't have that spirit of entrepreneurship in Ghana. In Ghana, one of our major weakness is that spirit of entrepreneurship, okay, especially for those who are going through education today. Our parents used to have it, but we are losing it. But it's something we need to build upon.
Where did yours come from?
Mine, I think, is from my mom. My mom was selling virtually everything. Everything. She sold virtually everything. As a young lady growing up, I saw her selling everything. So I carried bread to go and sell for her. She would go to Togo and buy things. I'll carry and sell for her. So anything we pick. And my junior siblings, they have even picked that very well. So a lot of them are not in white collar jobs like me. And they are doing like quite well with that business. And I've always talked about my junior brother, because I know this is my program. Even though I had a brother who is a medical doctor, and of course felt like I knew people to get him job, I could not get him job. But he took the bull by the horn and started selling electronic gadgets. Small. He goes to shops and marketed it for them. Now he's able to build his own shop and he's employed some people, And for me, it's a great lesson also. And I felt that for programs such as this, we should mention it. It is not all the time that you go to school and get job, but the education that you get and the university that you attend opens up your mind, and you're able to do other things to help yourself, even if you don't get employment. So you shouldn't go to university and sit home that, oh, I don't have a job. Start. Even if you have to sell bananas, start something.
The clear cut between right and wrong. Halal is known. Haram is equally known. Why not engage yourself in that which is right for your own sake Halal event is what we plan and is what we serve the Ummah. Halal events know the difference.
It was pretty tough, but I've also seen what happens in other communities, and the fact that I had opportunity to go to school, I did not see it as a disadvantage, but I saw it as an opportunity. And that is what I always tell people. The fact that you are put in school, you should see it as an opportunity. You know, it shouldn't have anything to do with like the food that you eat in school. I mean, you can eat once a day and still be fine. But you should always see it as an opportunity. The fact that your parents were able to put you in school, it should be an opportunity. And I always would be grateful for my mom and dad for putting me in school.
From the medical school, obviously, you did so well, you graduated medical school, then you became a doctor.
Yes.
Then neurosurgery. How was the transition from being a medical doctor and then into neurosurgery? Was there someone you were looking up to? Did you want to become a neurosurgeon from the onset?
Yeah, right from day one.
And what was the motivation?
I was motivated because of my multiple admissions into the hospital at that young age. I met medical students, but I was admitted at Kolebu Teaching Hospital in 1991. I had a very long admission period.
Wow.
But I heard names like Dr. Mustafa, who was a Muslim, who had established the neurosurgery unit in Kolebu. In fact, some count him as probably the first neurosurgeon in the whole of Sub-Saharan Africa. And there was a lot of myth around the brain because people thought that it was akin to us. There was no way somebody could operate on the brain. So for me, it was exciting. And people labeled Dr. Mustafa as mystical because those were the things which excited me, because for Ghanaians, it was too strange. You know, but the one who gave me proper mentorship was the one who came after Dr. Mustafa. He's called Dr. Idrisu, who is like a father to me. He gave me proper mentorship. And when I talk about proper mentorship, it's not like somebody I just looked up to, but somebody I got closer to. Somebody that I call his children, my brothers and sisters. Someone who opened the world to me, opened the world beyond just medicine. Treated me about life, about social life, about politics, about entrepreneurship. And that is what we have been lacking. Somebody to hold our hands.
Life coach.
Life coaches. That is what we lack in the Zungos. But Dr. Idrisu guided me. Even when I was writing my exams in neurosurgery to become a fellow, he guided me throughout that. There are times I'm going to travel, he would make sure that I'm able to get my visa. This is how far the man mentored. And he's mentored so many Northerners as well, including Haruna Idrisu, what's the Yunus Afusinu. And a lot of Northerners look up, but I'm so close to him. And that is what I also set up to do. That I will go to my Zongo, let the people know me that, yes, I'm from the Zongo. So when I go back home to Nungwa Zongo, there are mothers who will come to me and come and tell me that, oh, I have a son who is looking up to you, who is very good. He wants to become a doctor. I get closer to the person. So as we speak today, in Nungwa Zongo, we have about 5 doctors. After me, we produced 4 doctors. And the one I really, really mentored and got him closer to me, just married last week. And he's also specializing in medicine. This is somebody I saw even when I was a young doctor. He was so little. He's finished medical school now. He's an MO. At a point, he was heading the Upper West Regional Hospital. You know, but what people from Zongo who have achieved a little need to do is to go back to the community. Don't go and hide in East Legons and the posh communities. You should be going home. For years, people from Zongo will tell you, I used to go and play football with them every weekend.
Give back to the
Even when I was in Winneba, I would drive from Winneba and go and play football. They will kick me, I will fall, but I didn't want them to see me as any special because of the bonding.
Yes.
So those who are watching, it's something that they have to take note of. If you really want to change your community and mentor people, these are some of the things you need to do. You should let the people feel like you are part of them, okay, and that you are not any extraordinary person. You shouldn't feel that at all, and you shouldn't let anybody see you in that manner. And I will use this opportunity also to educate people that brain surgery is exciting. You can go brain surgery and walk home. You can go spinal cord surgery and walk home. And the chances are not 50-50. There is nothing like 50-50 in medical practice. Okay? There are always complications. You know, if you sit, like in every life endeavor, if you sit at one place, they say because of road traffic accident, you will not travel because there are a lot of accidents. And there are people like that. You know, even as we sit and we decide not to go in,
this can happen.
Can fall. But how many bulbs have fallen off the roof to come and hit somebody? It's very few.
Yes.
So it's the same thing in brain surgery. Maybe out of 100 cases that you operate, you may get one person who may have some complication. Okay, but in brain surgery, we take it as something very serious. But 1% of complication is not a serious one, and it's different from 50-50.
So you have huge success rates with
huge
brain
huge success rate, and I can tell you that we are one of the best centers in the whole of Africa.
That's Kolebu?
Yes, Kolebu. We are one of the best centers. And as we speak to you, I've seen patients from as far as Burundi
who come to Ghana for
we have Namibia.
Surgery.
Sometimes their political class come to Kolebu for surgery.
Wow.
Okay. And I have always believed in the capabilities of the Ghanaian doctor, including my other colleagues. So all my children were delivered in Ghana. I never sent my children to my wife to America to go and deliver, so they will be American. I truly believe in Ghana. I believe in the capabilities of Ghanaian. You know, my wife always have opportunity to have delivered abroad because that's where she lived. But she always come to Ghana, unlike how many Ghanaians, including politicians, will send their families abroad to get delivered. And my children have been very fine.
Alhamdulillah.
It's been very, very fine.
Alhamdulillah.
So we have to believe in what we have. Why would Togolese politicians want to come to Ghana to have a spinal cord surgery or brain surgery? Why would the Liberians want to have it? Why would the Gambians want to come here? But we want to go to India. Indians, including the Chinese, went to America. At a point in time, there were a lot of them there. They studied, got their skills, went back to their country to develop their countries. The good thing is that they were able to build a machinery, which we don't have as doctors here. But if government can invest in the machinery, a lot of jobs could even be created from the health sector alone. To our youth,
yes,
they need to believe in Allah in everything you do. Remember, someone told me it is not possible to become a doctor because I come from the Zungus. You need to believe in Allah. Right from day one, my mom believed in me. She told me it is possible. I believe in myself that it was possible. And you need that belief. You really need to believe in that and work hard at it. And that is studying. I also want to encourage our parents in the Zongo. We should start introducing our children to reading very early. Most children by the age of 5 years will be able to read 2-letter words or 3-letter words. One very popular professor advised my wife to start reading to even my children when they were in the womb. And they've picked up. So by 4 years they were already reading. Initially we thought, how can you read to a child? I mean, because I'm a scientist and it didn't make sense. But she was also a pediatric surgeon. She's called Professor Hesse. But we've seen the fruit. So as early as possible, once they can pick 2-letter words, let's start reading to them. Let's encourage them to read. And it is really education which will bridge the gap between us from the Zongos, from the slums, from the shanty towns, and those who live in East Legon. Because I saw children in school who drove cars. But today, we are all doctors. The cars some of my colleagues drive today is far better than what those who had cars in school are driving. I have classmates who couldn't even pay school fees. Today they have businesses, they built their hospitals. Those who had cars in school were driving Porsche cars in school, all because of education. So when you give your children education, you are giving them an equal footing as children of other people
well endowed,
who are well endowed. So please, the Zongos, the Chokos, Ashames, Mungwa Zongo, Nima, we can bridge the gap if we give our children education. It is so important. And always remember Allah.
Thank you very much, Doctor. We are most grateful for the inspiration and the advice shared. We hope anybody who listens or watches this interview will be so inspired. Well, viewers, you've heard it from the doctor himself. I hope we've done a good job at opening up and making a surgery or doing a surgery.
You have to close up
of the life of our neurosurgeon. So we are closing up now after we had done the surgery of his life. And I hope you have enjoyed it and you've learned a lot from his story, from paying his own school fees, from the help he got from other people, from the learning in the bush, just to ensure that he makes it, and the inspiration he got from his mom. May Allah bless her soul. May Allah bless her always. We are excited. We hope you are also excited. This is Halal Events, my role model show. Thank you so much for watching. We look forward to more interviews. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
This program is powered by Halal Events. Halal Events. Know the difference.
All praise is due to the one and only